celebrating the power of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Pastor Daryl Arnold, Part 2.
Welcome to Anything is Possible. This is actually Part 2 of my interview with Daryl Arnold. He's the senior pastor of Overcoming Believers Church. Why does it have that name?
Because when I got here, it was probably one of the most difficult times of my life, and I read a verse in the scriptures that said we are overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. And we love not our lives even unto death, and I didn't love my life at that particular time.
What was going on?
I was in between trying to figure out what I needed to do in life and in ministry. And I was wrestling with God on whether I should stay in Chattanooga or make a transition. And I really felt like I was hearing God say, step out into the deep and trust me. But in order to do that, I had to leave everything I had, and I had to go back to poverty.
So what were you doing in Chattanooga?
I was serving as like an assistant pastor at a very large church there. But it was the end of the road, and I could have stayed, but I really believe it was the end of the road, and didn't know what to do.
So you came here with what?
Nothing, a wife and family.
Yeah, you know when people say nothing, they don't mean nothing. They don't. You've been at a very, very popular and successful church in Chattanooga.
That's exactly true.
And as a matter of fact, the word was you were next in line to pastor that church.
Maybe from people's perspective, but I don't think God ever had his mind on me pastoring.
So when you say nothing, what do you mean?
When I came here, I literally came here with nothing. When I left Chattanooga, I left with no money, no insurance, nothing, no assistance. My wife and I, 2 girls, for months we slept in an office building, would go to McDonald's and wash up, and had no insurance on the car. My daughter got bit by a dog and I couldn't take her to the hospital. My house was being foreclosed on. My lights were cut off. One day, there's a lady who wanted me to go to a church service. She knew nothing about what we were going through, and went to the church service, and I hated it. It was boring. She said, "What did you think about it?" And I said, "It was all right." And she said, "I just really felt like you were supposed to come." And I said, "Okay, well, I mean, I appreciate you." She said, "I got something for you in the car." And she walks over and hands me one of those grocery bags, and it had a pickle jar in it. And I thought she had made me some pickles, and got back home, and it was coins, nickels and pennies and dimes, $249.49. I'll never forget it. And the reason I'll never forget it is because our lights had been cut off, and it was $249.49 to get it cut on. And right then, God was trying to teach me, I've got you in the right place, you just trust me. And so we had nothing, man. Literally nothing, no facility. We just had each other.
You started with how many people?
I just named them.
That was the beginning of the church?
That was it. Myself, my wife, and my 2 babies. That was it. That was it.
So you're preaching to them?
Yeah, it was great. They would listen to me then. Then when the first real Sunday we put together, I think we had 7 people there. It was in a Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall vacant building. I think it was about 7 people. It was the size of the studio. And God, here's the truth, God multiplied us from the first day. There's never been a Sunday in 13 years that somebody didn't get born again, ever. He has always multiplied us, and I really believe that the Bible is true. He acts to the church daily. So I had nothing. I had nothing but my family.
How many members do you have now?
Oh, you know, preachers. So we got 2,500 in a row. We'll see about 1,000 show up on Sunday morning.
Wow.
Yeah. Easter we had close to 3,200 people. It was amazing. 400 saved. It was amazing. Only the hand of God could have done that.
And if you don't launch out into the deep,
if you don't, this is the thing I want the viewers to get. you will always be marginal. You will always be normal until you do something dangerous. There comes a point in time in everybody's life where they have to jump and do something dangerous, something that could either destroy them or blow them up. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. I heard in my spirit, it's time to do something dangerous. And so I had to walk away. I had to walk away from what I knew to grab a hold to what he wanted me to have.
This is Daryl Arnold. You're watching Anything is Possible, because it is. We'll be back.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
I'm starting to get numb. And it's all right for me to feel the pain. It's all right for me to be angry, but I'm fighting the numbness. Because when you're numb, you can't tangibly touch the families of those that you're serving.
I've been at your church a number of times. This is Daryl Arnold. You're watching Anything is Possible, and I've felt the energy, but I've also felt this special compassion that you have for people, right? This love that you have for people, especially young men. At the time of this taping, you are headed, you have a lot of young men in your church, which is rare these days, young men. But then you have a lot of young men in your church in caskets.
That's exactly right.
And at the time of this particular taping, you were headed from here to bury the young man that was killed in the Danny Mayfield Park. What you want?
I guess your question is, how do you feel? Pain. I feel a lot of pain. It's not just painful, but I'm angry, and I'm starting to get numb. And it's all right for me to feel the pain. It's all right for me to be angry, but I'm fighting the numbness. Because when you're numb, you can't tangibly touch the families of those that you're serving. And the reason that numbness comes is when you do this so much, it produces a callus on your heart where you almost get anesthetized to it. And I'm just tired of burying young men and women. You know, people talk about how many young men I bury. I buried a lot of young women too. But I'm getting tired of it, and it's become a burden. And,
I was thinking about the other day how this must be wearing on you. I mean, there's a necessary numbness, because I just think about what it must be like, and hear me out on this, to be the go-to pastor for that.
Right. It's amazing that you said that, because this is not what I said yes to. Like,
right.
I feel like God has tweaked the contract.
Right, because I don't know of another person in this town that has been more radically committed, not to this, but let's go get these young men, let's do something. You had the gang leaders in your church. You asked the police force to give you a safe window so you could start a dialogue so that this summer, this wouldn't happen, because you've got your ear to the streets and you hear what's going on. You're like, the church can't just be a place where we kind of go, praise the Lord,
That's exactly right.
lift an offering.
That's exactly right.
I mean, you have been proactive to the point of deep criticism. What is he doing over there?
Right. Well, my mentor in ministry is a man named Jesus. That's my mentor in ministry. And when you look at the life of Jesus, every day I wake up in the morning, every day I get up in the morning, I look at the life of Jesus. Every day I look at the life of Jesus. How does he handle leaders? How does he handle women that are not being faithful to their husbands? How does he handle people that are struggling with racism? How does he handle those that are in poverty? How does he handle those that are religious? How does he handle the government? And when I look at the life of Jesus, Jesus was not driving a Cadillac, coming to church, raising an offering, shouting, thanking his father, and then going to the mothers and getting sweet potato pies, and then do it again next week. Jesus was impacting people, and he was transforming cities.
Does the frustration and anger and numbness come because you're trying so hard, but you're gonna close a casket on a 12-year-old? Am I getting through?
Yeah.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Is the fact that you call me as your go-to pastor an indication that I'm not getting it done?
Yeah, and so I'm oftentimes fighting that in my head. But then I ask myself the question, what if I wasn't doing it? How many other people would be burying kids? And how many kids would we be burying? And how tragic could it be? I believe that Jesus dealt with that. I believe that he was trying to figure out whether he was making a significant difference. You know, at the end of the day, he was crying out from a cross saying, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? I've said that, like, why am I doing this? And I feel like that there are no results. But I'm constantly reminded, not just from God in prayer, but from people like you and from people that call me, and mothers that I run into at the mall or at Walmart, or young men from the streets that say, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. People have come up to me and said, hey, I was gonna kill myself, but I heard what you were doing, and I thought I'd give my life another shot. And so we've got to make sure, at least I have to make sure that I look at the positive things and the results that are coming out of our community, and not just focus on the negative.
Yeah, and I think that's part of a deeper calling. Is I was just sitting here and I was thinking that without the separation from your father, that sense of separation, that you would not have
By no means would I
a
have
sense of separation.
That's
so that
exactly
when
right.
you see it, it matters to you.
Yes.
So when you see a young man and you see their separation from their father, and
know
you
what it's gonna
see
do
the
to 'em.
separation from their father,
Yes.
that matters to you because
Yes.
it matters to you.
Yes.
And I don't know if you were a super successful Goldman Sachs guy, that the separation would even connect with you or matter if you hadn't sensed it yourself.
That's exactly right. That's
Right?
exactly right. That's exactly
So
right.
please don't stop what you're doing, because I think your unique calling is realness in action. Because the real challenge of existence is separation from the Father.
You know, in Malachi, the last verse of the book of Malachi says that the sons and the fathers had to be reconciled lest the earth be smitten with a curse. That when if the fathers and the sons don't come back together, that there will be a curse that falls upon the earth. I think that tonight, as I bury this young man's body, those that have been shooting and killed him, the kids that I've buried, I think that it's a real indication that the earth has been smitten with a curse. And until the fathers and the sons come back, the curse won't be lifted. It won't. And it can be lifted because Jesus...
No. It can be lifted because your father walked into your office.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
No, it's not a theory.
Yeah.
It's not a report, a study that they did at UT.
That's right.
The truth is, in your own life,
it was lifted. That's a good point, Hal. That's beautiful.
Fathers can come back,
That's
and they can
right.
come back. Maybe not when you're
in
25,
their 70s, they
but they
can
could
come
be.
back.
You could be 45, and they could be 70.
That's
so you can never give up hope
Yes.
that can happen.
Yes, that's good. That's good.
Because you do something special on Monday with your son.
Yeah. I mean that's going to happen every Monday. So you ask, what is it? It's something always. I don't know. A lot of times it's Chuck E. Cheese, and sometimes it's hoverboards, and sometimes it's the movies, and sometimes it's just sitting in the park. But I'm gonna be with my boys on Monday, every single Monday, all day. From when they get up to when they go to bed, you're gonna see me with my sons. I think it's necessary. And the Bible says that the memories of the just are blessed. I wanna participate in manufacturing my memories for my sons. Mm-hmm. I want my sons to have great memories of Men's Monday. When they're 60 years old, if I'm sitting back in the hospital in the ICU room and they're holding my hand and I take my last breath, I want them with tears that run down their face, say, man, we had some great Men's Mondays, Dad. Now you can't do that unless you manufacture those memories. Memories don't have to be just something that happened to you. You can make memories, and I want to participate in that. And that's what I believe that I'm doing on Mondays.
Wow, let's take a break. Daryl Arnold is my guest and friend. You're watching Anything is Possible.
Coming up.
I'm on my way to Haiti in the morning. I've got funeral tonight. I got to be out of the country again in another month. It never stops, but she's always there.
Welcome back to Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill, and this is Pastor Daryl Arnold of Overcoming Believers Church. Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize winning economist, talks about the two lives we live. So there's the life you live minute to minute, of which you remember very little. Say 10 years ago, Tuesday at 1 o'clock, what were you wearing, thinking, what, don't know. He said, so there's that life, and then there's the remembered life. The life you remember is hung on 3 pillars: big moments, big changes, and endings. Mm-hmm. And it's not a lot of them, but that's what you hang your life on. And so the big moments, the changes, and endings are what you remember of your life, and what you remember of your life is how you see your life.
Yes.
And how you see your life is how you see your future. And so when you were talking about making better memories, that's one of the points that he makes, is that being intentional about making big moments gives you a life you enjoy remembering. Mm-hmm. And if you enjoy remembering your life, you will enjoy living, right? And that's why this show has become one of my deep life passions, because if you don't have someone present that believes that something different is possible, it never changes. Mm-hmm. And especially in the darkest places, light means so much more. So you are in that community to make some better moments, to affect some bigger changes, and to write some better endings. Wow. Right? So you're trying to do that. In the last couple of minutes here, I want you to do two things: acknowledge your wife and your kids, and then tell me about this new center that is going in.
My wife is Grace in Motion. That used to be your name, right?
Our name.
Yeah, Grace in Motion.
I was the least graceful of them, yeah.
Grace in Motion. She is Grace in Motion. She's, I married outside of my league just like you did.
I know.
And so my wife is really the key behind everything you see. She just doesn't get the credit. I can't do what I do with 4 children, and 2 of them are under the age of 7 without my wife's support. She's making sure that the house is held together while she's walking with me and building the kingdom. I'm on my way to Haiti in the morning. I've got funeral tonight. I got to be out of the country again in another month. It never stops, but she's always there pushing me, and she's taking some, you know, when we're married and God tells us we got to jump and do something dangerous, they got to jump and do something dangerous with us also. And so I applaud her. I've got 4 kids. Deja is 21. She's at MTSU doing very, very well. Shania is 16. She's at Hardin Valley Elementary. My son, oldest son, is 7 years old. He's probably fighting with my 5-year-old son right now. And so I'm excited about that. Change Center is something that is going to be absolutely amazing. It is an activity center that we are partnering with the mayor and the city to bring some safe place for Knoxville, Tennessee and the young people to go to. So it's going to be a skating rink, it's going to be a hockey training center, it's going to be an entrepreneur center, it's going to have like a mini type Chuck E. Cheese in it, professional climbing wall, event center. It's going to be amazing. A safe place where young people can come and grow, and they will run the whole center. So hopefully there'll be a place where young people can go and not worry about whether they're going to get shot or ganged or treated poorly. It's going to be a great place.
Well, God bless you.
Man, thank you.
I think God has literally called men like yourself for moments like this, and I also believe that you go through difficult passes so that you can go through difficult passes. So you're not rattled because the calling that you have is going to require that you walk through some difficult places. And having been through difficult places, you have the courage to embrace them because you know they don't kill you.
That's right.
Right. So thank you, thank you,
thank you, man.
Thank you, thank you.
I appreciate you letting me come.
We had another guy on the show, and between you and Dr. Hashemian, I have no need of GQ magazine at all. I'm canceling my subscription.
That's a joke.
Can we get a picture of the socks? Because this guy goes from head to toe. I've never seen you on any occasion. I don't care what's going on.
You know why? See, because guys like you don't have to. I have to put all this on to cover up all this ugly. So you could just come on here butt naked if you want to. You'll be fine.
Anything.
It's possible.
Almost anything is possible. We'll see you next time.